Perfect. Thanks. And there was silence. Huh. Hey, folks, we might be having a few technical difficulties tonight, but here we are, caching in the Northwest. Did you know this is the official podcast of GeoWoodstock right here in the great Pacific Northwest? Each week, we're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're waiting for that overcooked hot pocket to cool down, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
Is it lava hot in some spots and frozen in the others?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll have that. All right, well, here it is. It's 8 o'clock on a Thursday night. Yeah, your clock may say 9 o'clock. But doggone it, standard time, it's 8 o'clock. Anyway, it's time for the podcast, and it's time to bring in our tracking tamarin. Some say he loves cedar bushes as much as the dog loves the mailman. Others say his personality has more facets than a disco ball. All we know is he's called a land monkey.
Thank you very much.
And we know we're glad to see him.
And I'm glad to see you two guys. It's nice to be here with my friends.
Here we are.
Here we are. It's nice to be here. Let's just do that. It's just three of us. We'll just hang out.
Just be here.
What is here but there without a T?
Also that. All right. Well, tonight we're going to talk about trackables in outer space because, something relatively significant finally occurred this week.
Space.
Pigs in space. Yes, exactly. But before we get into any and all of that, it's of course the quick reminder that we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep the podcast coming each and every week. A special thanks to Landsharks, our corporate and Denali level sponsor. And hey, if you are totally into this whole trackables in space and Mars Perseverance trackables, head on over to Landsharks with a Z.ca and you can order any of the trackable collection there, including the patch, which we have the patch. Yay. And you can add any of that to your collection, or you can send it out into the world. You can even see if you can get yours to travel to Mars. Good luck with that. But yeah, that's all pretty cool stuff. And if you want to know more about supporting this show, click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website.
If you want your patch to Mars, you really got to work on your Frisbee skills.
What if you built a really big wrist rocket?
Ooh. Maybe. That's like liquid oxygen powered?
It could be, yeah. And if you do that, make sure you film it and send it in because we'll play it on a podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because yeah. I mean, really. Hey, folks.
What?
This is wow. I didn't expect a response. Hey, folks.
What?
Hey, you know what time it is, kids?
8 p.m.-ish.
It's time for the glow. What is a glow? It's a geocaching log of the week. Whether you read it or whether you wrote it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. I haven't done it in a while, and I almost forgot it.
How would they get those to you?
Well, the easiest way is to send an email or a field recording. Remember about that field recording? To feedback@cachingnw.com. You can call into 253-693-TFTC and show us just how you glow.
Those field recordings, they're like ROUSs. I don't believe they exist.
Oh, you think so?
You can avoid them if you hear the popping noise.
That's right. It's a popping sound preceding each of those. Can avoid that. Well, let's see. Glow. Let's see if I remember how to do this. The glow this week is from Lazy Bones, who found a traditional cache called Frogger's Creek Ravine. That's kind of silly. Don't froggers cross highways, not creeks or ravines?
Exactly.
What is up with that?
Something suspicious with this already.
Yeah, but it is a recent log. If the date there is accurate, it was yesterday, St. Paddy's Day 2021. And the log reads, saw the difficulty in terrain and was worried. But with all of the recent finds, I was encouraged that I could make this find today after work. Headed out and mistook Keith Street as Patrick Street and parked at the end of the wrong street.
Are you sure
Luckily-
it was St. Patrick? Oh, no,
Oh.
it's... Yeah, okay, I got it. No, it's
Patrick
Patrick
ST.
Yeah,
using.
maybe it's mistook Keith Saint as Patrick Saint.
Yeah, there you go.
You never know. I mean, hey, this week I tend to think that is an abbreviation for Saint.
There you go.
Anyway, he says, luckily this error didn't mess me up too much. Only took me a few minutes to understand my error and quickly was able to get up to the right level. Entered the ravine much farther south and west than I imagine was suggested in the photos, but made my way down with little to no mud involved. Hope his friend had a towel in the van.
Oh,
Trekked up the ravine till I got close to ground zero, and after getting the photo hint and finding my position, I started my exploration of the area, ever gradually expanding my search outward. I eventually texted a previous finder, but received no response. Finally, I looked in a place I didn't really expect would be able to house the cache, and boom! There it is. Signed and replaced. Spotted my 57th bird ID in my life list today while searching. Spotted a Pacific wren. Cute, and thought it was a mouse at first. Happy to have another ID under my belt. It's probably the wings that gave it away that it wasn't a mouse. Just thinking.
As opposed to the winged mice, which are also
Yeah.
known as bats.
Also known as bats, yes. But hey, the glow is not done. He says, I
What?
started making my way out along the path that was closest and made the most sense back to the park area. Found the mud. Gah! I was pretty much clean up to this point, but my boots got covered in mud. Kept making my way up when I looked back and spotted someone cuddled up in a hollowed out tree just below me. Having read Zeppelin 94's logs, I was shocked to think this homeless person would still be here. I looked closer and didn't see any movement, which worried me. I called out repeatedly, quite loudly, to finally have the man sit up and acknowledge me. He was freezing cold, his fingertips were black, and starving, immediately asking for me to call an ambulance. I called 911 and stayed with him until they arrived and took care of him. He said he'd been sleeping in that tree for 3 days and didn't know how he got there. Without Zepp's log, I likely would have left him alone, so I guess we had some good geocaching tag teamwork going on. An important reminder that detailed logs can be helpful in many ways, and to not discount people just because they look disheveled and homeless. Quite the adventure. Who knew that a 2.5, 3.5 would end with me calling 911? He ends by thanking Cypher M for keeping the streak alive and says it's day 76 of his 2021 daily streak. And cache number 3337.
That is an
Wow.
amazing story. And
Yeah.
yeah, I saw this pop up on Twitter. So the cacher Lazy Bones is a friend of, and I follow him on Twitter, and I saw him post something about like, geez, I never thought a 2.5, 3.5 would end up with me calling 911. So he had great clickbait. And so I clicked through and read this log, as a number of folks in the chat have and passed this on to us. We heard of it from a number of people. And then, once I read through it, it's like, wow, like you got to give Lazy Bones more than full credit for being a very decent human being and doing all the right things. So Lazy Bones, huge thumbs up from the podcast hosts. Thank you for being a good guy, a great guy.
Yeah, we 3Ham says amazing log, read it last night. Limax says, oh yes, I did read this log earlier today. Keith says that was the glow I submitted this morning, and he did. I saw that. Yeah, Forest Ghost says, amazing log. Really enjoyed that.
There you go.
See, geocaching saves lives.
It can if
Yeah.
the right people are paying attention to what they're doing.
Yeah.
Big thanks to Lazy Bones.
Indeed. Excellent. Well, so that's something pretty heavy duty to start in with.
Yeah, exactly.
And I see that our guest has joined us. Do we want to bring him in before we jump into our news?
Sure.
There.
Hello there, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
hear you just fine.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I thought this was tomorrow. I'm like sitting on the couch watching Robin Hood and got a text message saying, "Oh, by the way, Chris says you need to come on now." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Let's do that."
Perfect. All right. Well, we are joined by Avro Air. Nice to have you here. He's joining us tomorrow. So happy Friday evening, everyone.
Time travel is possible.
There you go.
It's tomorrow in Australia already, so that kind of
right.
counts.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much, Avro Air, for dropping Robin Hood and coming onto the podcast.
Was it Men in Tights?
I was going to say,
kind of excitement. They're both exciting.
which version of Robin Hood was it?
2018 one. So it's got nothing to do with Robin Hood. It's just got a lot of explosions and stuff.
Oh yeah, sure. No
Oh, it's
Errol
like Rocket
Flynn.
Robin Hood. From what was that, in the 70s? I don't know. I remember it from being a kid. Rocket Robin Hood used to be on right around the same time as Spider-Man.
I don't remember that one.
No, just me. Okay. Hey, anybody in the chat who recognizes Rocket Robin Hood?
No, that doesn't spring a bell, but I do think of oodalali, golly, what a day.
Yeah, the Disney version.
Yes.
It was the Men in Tights version that I thought was,
Also
Yeah.
good.
worthy of watching. Yeah.
My wife would say there's none that count except for the Errol Flynn version from back in
Well,
a long time back.
All right. Hey, and I'm getting some Canadian love here for Rocket Robin Hood. It's according to Brylang, it was a Canadian cartoon in the late 70s and early 80s.
Oh, okay. I wasn't born yet.
True that. And Wet Coaster also recalls Rocket Robin Hood. So
All
there
right.
you
I'm sure it was awesome.
go. Oh yeah, it was like super high quality animation and everything. Yeah, it was, and storylines. There you go. Oh, GSM ×2's done some research for us.
Oh, great. Yeah. I do remember
Rocket
Super Ted
Robin
and the
Hood is a
Spotty Man. but
Canadian-
that's different.
Animated TV series placing the characters and conflicts of the classic Robin Hood legends in a futuristic outer space setting.
Yes.
Ooh.
There you go.
Friar Tuck
Man,
doing
how
an
everybody
EVA
else
this
learns it.
afternoon.
Usually it's you two guys digging back into trivia that I have no clue what you're talking about. Well, this time the turntables.
Oh, don't make me bring some British Robin Hood into this.
Well, that's what the after show is for.
Right.
All right. Well, hey, you know what? Let's jump into some news. What do we think? Or before we do that, do you want to roll through the hashtags?
Yes, I was going to say, folks, if you want to join in tonight's topic, use the hashtag Trackable right there in the chat, and we'll get your comments in. And, anything you want to ask Avro Air, I'm sure he's up for. And if not, we'll just switch it to Robin Hood and move on. Or you can, of course, use the hashtag FATAS to bring up something for the after show. Maybe that's where Rocket Robin Hood should be living, is in the after show.
Yeah, although it was pointed
It's
out, GSM ×2 did point out that as it's an outer space setting, it is
applicable.
On topic. Just we don't know if there's any trackables, but we'll figure that out. All right. Hey, you know what? Before we get started into more outer space trackables and Rocket Robin Hood, we want to remind all of you guys that you can and you should participate in our 400th episode next week. This is episode 399.
How did that happen?
No pressure. Well, we got to
just kept showing up
398.
on
We were
Thursdays.
really careful.
Wow.
Thank you very much, Avroer.
Sorry.
So that was for those who are listening in Braille. There we go. All right. Just next week we are going to have our 400th episode, and you can choose your favorite host and cheer for them and jeer the others as we answer your questions. But we need your questions to stump the hosts. It can be questions about the previous 399 episodes. It can be questions about geocaching. It can be very, very personal questions that we may not answer. But, submit your questions along with, the correct answer, or we'll just say it's right. And we will actually be picking some prizes. And, hey, Land Sharks has upped the ante.
There you go.
Land Sharks is up the ante.
They've upped something.
Yeah. They have added a Land Sharks gift certificate into the prize pool.
Ooh.
So if you want to win a Land Sharks gift certificate or whatever other prizes that Jim and I have on our desks.
Hey, got the chapstick. Has Chris found his used chapstick yet?
No, but I'll throw in a cough drop.
There you go.
All
They're
right.
kind of a matching set.
I could make it a used cough drop just to keep up with you guys.
If you get 2 chapsticks and 3 cough drops, I think that's a full house.
Mark, what are you showing us there?
I have a Fruitopia cap.
Oh,
You remember the thing Fruitopia?
I do.
Yeah.
So in college, I had this because I used to it clicks.
Oh, and here, I'll throw this in. I found this week as I was going through stuff in my garage. I found an X10 lamp module.
Ooh,
So
I actually
throw
think
that
I
in.
have some of those too.
I actually have
Somebody's
a
gonna
box
be
I keep
excited
meaning
about
to
that.
sell on eBay, but yeah, I got it.
Nice. All right. So if you want to win any of those, go ahead, Mark. What's that?
So all these items are, we can relate them to trackables because if you stick a code on them, then they're trackable.
There you go.
There
That's
you
all
go.
Yeah.
So if you want to get in the pool to win not only those amazing prizes, but a gift certificate from Land Sharks and who knows what else is
Yeah.
going to be in the prize pool,
Lamp
then
module.
you got to
X10.
submit your questions.
It's even got
And-
something rattling loose inside.
There you go. It just gets better.
Oh,
That's a bonus
now I'm
right there.
interested.
Who knows what'll happen when you plug it into the
And
wall?
like Land Monkey said, you've got to include the correct answer when you submit the question. Otherwise, we're right.
We are always anyway.
Well, there's that. But yeah.
So, Chris, if people want to get in on winning these prizes, how do they do it?
Go to the social medias of Caching in the Northwest. Facebook, Twitter, you're going to find the links there. You can jump in.
There you go. It's that
Okay.
easy.
And I'm
Use
glad
the
you said
form.
it's stump the hosts. I keep getting that wrong. I keep meaning it's host the stump. And it just didn't work out so well.
Oh, cash in stump. All right.
Okay.
So let's, Mark, we kind of introduced you already, but let's officially welcome you into the podcast. Chris, why don't you do the honors?
Well, Mark, thank you so much for joining us. Would you share a little bit about yourself, who you are, where home is, and how did you get involved in this silly game of geocaching that we all love?
Who I am. Who am I? Yes. So my name is Avro Air. I got that name from my grandfather flew Avro Lancasters during World War II, and so I had that username for a while. So why not apply that to geocaching as well? So did that. And I hail from just east of Seattle in a little town called Issaquah. So a friend took me out geocaching in 2003. Summer of 2003, we found our first geocache together. And then in our second geocache, there was like a Tigger travel bug. So I was like, oh, what's this? Now, forget about the caches. I like these travelers. So went and moved that around. Thought that was really cool. First thing I did when I got home was buy 4 travel bugs, which I set out, which are no longer anywhere. Who knows where they
They're
are?
in some kid's backpack, yeah.
Yeah.
I think one lasted two caches. Another one went a long way and then didn't go. But anyway, I was just attaching all kinds of things to travel bugs. So I'm like, hell, and in my great wisdom, I'm like, oh, the first 4 went missing. Why don't I buy 8 now instead? So it kind of proliferated from there. And then a couple months later, I actually saw in a cache an icon that I didn't know what it was. And it was a geocoin.
Ooh.
And I'm like, I must have that. So I ran out to go get it, and I missed it. And another geocacher picked it up and put it in a different cache. So I ran out to that cache to go get it, and I missed it again. And so now I'm tracking this travel bug. I finally got it, logged it. It was a 2003 USA geocoin, and logged it. And then I was like, oh, what are these geocoin things? So kind of got started into doing geocoins, made my own geocoin in 2004. So I could trade with John Stanley mountain bike for his coin. And so, yeah, kind of took off from there.
Yeah, I remember when I first got my first actual geocoin, and I, not knowing what I was doing, sent it out, launched it. And as I recall, he went to Germany, bounced around, and was never seen again. So
Indeed.
maybe, and someday I hope to follow in its footsteps.
Well, Chris, Ari in the chat said that he thought the trackable cough drop was such a great idea. He's going to pass it along to the shop geocaching team.
Oh, sure. We have 2 used chapsticks.
I know.
But it's the cough drop that gets HQ's attention.
I want a portion of the profits of the cough drop trackable. So
Okay.
There you go.
Well, Mark, you were saying you know a lot about travel bugs, and
A little bit.
Yeah. Tell us a little more about those. I'm curious now.
Well, so in 2005, basically geocaching opened up a sub forum on geocoins, in which I was a regular contributor to that, having sought out a bunch of those coins. And so then in 2006, I said, well, why don't we all meet, all the people who like geocoins? That's a novel concept. Let's get everybody together. So that was the inception of the mega event GeoCoin Fest. And so that's happened from 2007 onwards, sort of kind of working together and everything like that. And then in 2005, what really proliferated all the travel bugs and all of the geocoins was Geocaching HQ allowed different organizations, so state organizations such as WSGA could then make a trackable geocoin. So I had my hand in about 12 of those, whether it was just kind of either designing directly or showing people how to produce them, or, doing different things. And I had made a bunch for the New Jersey Geocaching Association as event coins. And so it kind of went on from there. So anyway, that's my personal story with geocoins, and it never stopped.
Very cool. And Subway Mark shouts out his appreciation of the Issaquah trolley trackables that you created several years ago. And he has one that's traveling in Europe and 2 others in his collection.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's really, really cool.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. So speaking of the trackables, Mark, can you explain for us what it is that makes something trackable?
Okay. Yes. So a trackable is any object that you put a geocaching.com code onto. And so if it's an official one, it would also say track at geocaching.com. But you put this tracking number on them. So I'm going to show you a tag here. Well, my camera's actually up there. So this is a tag. It's called a Lackey tag. It's a tag made by a geocaching employee. And so they have their own system of being able to make those after. I think they've been there 6 months. I could be wrong about that, but they make their own trackables. So that is the basic term for a trackable. Is you can track this thing through this code at geocaching.com.
Very cool.
Nice. So when people think of trackables, especially for me, the first thing that comes to mind is coins. But that's not necessarily the main volume of trackables. What other things are commonly trackable?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So this is a coin. Just wanted to show you this coin. I just got this coin from Germany. It's got Signal the
Ooh.
Frog on it.
Oh,
Going on an adventure. On the back side is a Hobbit house, which is
Oh,
kind of a
neat.
neat little
Mhm.
coin. So this is a geo coin. So that is a coin. I showed you the tag, but you could put a tracking number on almost anything. You could put one on a hiking stick. You can put one on a dog collar to make your dog quote trackable. You can put a car decal on your car to make your car trackable. A tattoo. So yeah, we have people who have put a tattoo with the tracking number on there, so you can log them. So yeah, it can be pretty much anything.
I know
Tattoos
people
don't
that-
really make a trade item, do they?
they are
It's
hard to trade.
hard to get them in the cache. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not impossible, but that's not a topic we want to go down on this show.
Okay.
Yeah, I know people that have multiple trackable tattoos,
Right.
and I have a hiking stick with a trackable number on it, and a car decal on my car that has yet to be discovered, I might add.
Ooh.
And you
Part of
just
that
said
is-
the magic word right there.
I know.
Discovered. So actually, if I can jump in again, there are
Please.
basically two. Sorry, I'm left-handed, so this is going to look weird. As always with the left hand.
Not to me.
So anyway, there's basically two nifty features with Trackables. There's traveling and there's discovering. So some geocachers keep the trackable in their possession or put it in a certain place and make it a personal item, and then they share it with others, and sort of it's meant to sort of document where they go and things like that. And they have a discoverable feature, so you can share it, but you're not giving it to someone. The second feature is the traveling feature, where it goes from cache to cache, and then when a geocacher finds it in a geocache, they actually take it into their inventory and then drop it off in another geocache. So it goes out of their inventory and into the geocache, and it moves along and travels along that way. So those are the sort of two main things, and one is sort of a logging experience as you go, but the discoverable, which came about later on, is a really cool thing because it means now I can keep my coin, but then other people can share it.
And I think that whole angle of discoverable, not discoverable, collectible was part of what maybe prompted us to start talking about creating an episode about trackables, because that car tag I mentioned. Okay, one of the reasons it hasn't been discovered is because I got it years ago and forgot I had it. It's been sitting in my garage. So I found it recently. I put it on my car. I activated it, and then I was confused. I thought, good grief, I've been geocaching for more than 15 years, and I couldn't figure out what to do with the thing, whether is it collectible, is it not collectible? And I messaged my podcast hosts, and they went, yeah, you're not alone. It's confusing to us too.
Yeah, we've got a future episode where we're going to really dig into
Yeah.
the how-tos on that, which will be great. But in the chat, Bri Lang shared that interesting story of a trackable. He got a Scrabble tag from the Geocaching HQ at one of the last block parties in Seattle. He sent it out with a bunch of craft Scrabble letters on a ring. It disappeared a couple of years ago, ... And then it just reappeared this week, just in time for the podcast, when it was placed in a cache. So there you go. So they do come back from the great trackable beyond.
Right.
If my
So if
I'm
you
wondering
look there,
Mm-hmm.
that is a pirate box full of geocoins.
Oh.
If you,
Nice.
if I did that correctly, yeah, right there.
Yes,
you did.
yep, we got it.
So I have, yeah. No, I just had fun doing that because I got it right the first time. So yeah, I have 4 of those around the house. Well, 3 are hidden, and there's one that I have out there. So I keep all my geocoins in different places like that. So anyway, I just noticed it when I was looking.
Very cool. Very cool. And lots of great comments in the chat. We'll get to all your comments, guys, so just keep them coming. But for now, Mark, so Trackables, let's segue this to something a little more current this week. Trackables are part of the geocaching game. They really move around the planet. We've seen them move off the planet. The first time, I think, was the International Space Station with astronaut Rick Mastraccio. He took a TB to the International Space Station because he could. But
Why wouldn't you?
I'm kind of curious. How do you? I mean, he's off the planet. Like, how do you record that you took a trackable off the planet?
Well, this is actually a really cool segue because geocaching has always been a partner since its inception with space because we use the GPS satellites to pinpoint our location and then go find geocaches. So I thought that was such a really cool theme. Anyway, so it's a natural synergy there. And so the astronaut who was working with HQ put a geocache on the International Space Station. And so there was an elementary school, I believe it was in Connecticut. They worked on a travel bug and they sent a travel bug up to the International Space Station. And so by having this discoverable feature, you don't actually have to have the physical travel bug or trackable in your hand. It's shareable now. So now you're just logging it and you're sharing in the experience, which is what I think is such a cool thing about this thing. Now, the geocache in the ISS, yeah, you're not going to be able to log that because you kind of have to be there to do that. But yeah, maybe next year.
Yeah.
I guess at the crux of it, though, like that's how you're able to record that a trackable went off the planet, because there was already a geocache that, as you say, Richard Garriott had put on the International Space Station. So you could check the trackable into that. So then it's like officially it's recorded as this has left the planet.
Right.
Within the game of geocaching. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a wonderful extension of geocaching. I mean, trackables are a way to both document what you've kind of accomplished. And, this is exactly, his profession happens to be an astronaut. So therefore, he gets to go put a geocache on the ISS. And so putting a travel bug up and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, all of us have similar sort of experiences, whether we went to another country or went on a cruise or did something, found a geocache. It's all about your experiences. And it's all about sharing that experience with other people.
Nice.
So, taking the a travel bug to the ISS, that might be a little extreme for most people. I just don't happen to be an astronaut. Doesn't mean I don't want to be one. I'm just not one. So do you advise taking travel bugs to extreme locations? I mean, okay, it might not be the ISS, but it could be, a 5.5 cache.
Oh, yes, totally. I mean, as long as you have an understanding, you may not get it back. If you're sending it out into space or whatever, you're not going to get the thing back. But I mean, Lord British, who's another geocacher, just put a geocache at the bottom of the ocean, all the way down there. And, the long game on that is, okay, and probably no geocacher is going to get the first to find on it. But, whoever knows what's going to happen to that geocache. But for him, it was, I'm going to do something that's kind of cool and kind of noteworthy. And so even thinking when something like that happens and you're thinking about the geocaching community, it's just a fun thing to sort of understand. So totally. I had a geocoin just quickly in 2004. My parents moved to California. I was still living in New Jersey. And so I called it my love lost my parents geocoin or something like that. And it traveled all the way across the US and got to a local geocache. My dad had no idea what geocaching was and didn't care really. But I told him, you need to go down to the Home Depot, and in that bush there is a geocache. And he's like, sure, whatever. And he actually got the coin.
Wow.
And I he got the coin, and it was probably about 2005 by then. So he gave me the coin back when I got there. So it was such a cool experience. And so I renamed it Biavroera Beer Coin. So when people log it, they buy me a beer.
That's awesome. That's a great story.
That is a great story. Yeah, I love that.
I think that's what Trackables are. They're sharing stories. Every single one of my geocoins in my collection is a memento, is a meeting someone, going to an event, doing a geo tour, anything like that. It's always an experience. So yes, I do. I do feel that, taking a trackable somewhere or putting it somewhere. I put a trackable at Angkor Wat in Cambodia. I don't know what happened to it, but I left it there. That was back in 2007. So, I mean, and every other geocacher has similar experiences.
Well, and if you ever make it to the bottom of the ocean, you could be FTF on that coin.
Mhm.
It seems unlikely. It seems pretty extreme, but if I've learned anything about geocachers, it's never say never, because somebody just might log that someday. Who knows? That's pretty extreme. I don't know how anybody's going to find that one, but from what I understand, the most extreme place a travel bug has ever gotten to now is on the planet Mars. What can you tell us about travel bugs on Mars?
Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome. So NASA's Mars Perseverance rover touched down on the Martian surface February 18th, I believe it was. And on board they had what they called a Sherlock instrument. It was basically the rover's calibration target. So it was with a camera and taking a photograph. And that calibration disc that was in the front there had tracking number on it. So when they took a photograph and sent it back to Earth, it got a little travel bug number on there, and geocachers got all excited around the world because once again, that's a discoverable, shareable thing. Very cool. There you go.
There it is.
Very cool. Yeah, I haven't logged it yet myself. Looking forward to enjoying the experience. I understand the steps to actually go find the photo, look for the code on the photo. I don't want somebody to just give me the code. I want to actually go through the process and do it.
Right.
I think that'll be fun.
I did that yesterday. So
Nice.
went and found it and everything like that.
And by the way, Sherlock, as you mentioned, NASA, it's a government agency. They love acronyms. It's the Scanning Habitable Environments with Raman and Luminescence for Organics and Chemicals. Of course.
Obviously.
Of course.
Duh. Who didn't know that?
That's awesome.
No, exactly.
So yeah, that trackable, the picture from Sherlock was just available yesterday.
Yeah.
And in the images I saw, it's a little dark. I hear if you blow it up big, it's clear and easy to read. But the image, on Geo Gearheads earlier, we were saying perhaps it's the lack of atmosphere, but the image it doesn't look real to me. It almost looks like a rendering of, the device there, just because it just has an unusual appearance.
Well, it is a picture sent from Mars, so
yeah, that's
right.
true. I mean, I see the Martian landscape, but you don't.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have that.
I also have an
that's
unusual appearance, but that's entirely different.
and you're also from Mars.
Men are
Men
from
are from
Mars.
Mars.
Women are from Venus. Yeah, we're not getting into that.
You should
Hey,
write a book.
So just a quick note. So I worked at Scientific American magazine for 10 years and worked on a lot of NASA stories and things like that. A lot of the stuff that comes back is actually been doctored quite a bit to make it, visually, I won't say pleasing, but visually more interesting for the common layperson. So
okay.
it could be possible that they, it just took the picture and they uploaded it, or it could, they enhanced it a little bit just to see how it, to show it or whatever else.
It's
So,
not to
either
hide
way.
it that it was taken in a Pasadena soundstage.
The shadows are all wrong.
Yes, right. Yes.
That's right.
Too funny.
Well, and it took them so long to find the red lights. They had to take
Yeah,
out the white lights from the moon and put the red lights in to make it look like Mars, and off they go.
We should start a new conspiracy that Mars is flat.
Ooh, yeah.
Is there a flat Mars society yet?
I'm sure there is. Like, prove it isn't, right? Geez.
Oh, hey, we have a few questions in the chat that are more relevant than what we're saying.
Good.
Starcasher says, does anyone else think it's strange to get a souvenir for discovering the Perseverance trackable. That's the first trackable-based souvenir that I remember.
That's thumbs up. Yeah, I agree. I think it's pretty cool. I think,
I think it's awesome.
given everything else going on the last couple of years, the fact that they were willing to innovate and try something new at HQ for this, I thought good for them. And it's something we can all kind of get behind, something fun,
Mhm.
and I think it's great. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that they came out with the souvenirs, and it was sort of okay, what are these souvenirs kind of things, and they're finding new ways to apply the souvenirs. So it's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. Doramore mentions that she raced trackables with a Japanese cacher from Osaka. We sent trackable toy cars and caches near our airports on the same day. His made it back to me. Mine went missing. And Avro, that's something, that's an aspect of trackables we haven't talked about, is racing trackables.
Yes. So I have some personal experience with that. None of it good. With the races, it's like first cache I put it in, and it either just sits there for really, really long, and I really want to go and move it to a new cache, but it depends on the rules of the game,
Right.
or it goes into somebody's hands and never leaves. And so, yeah, no, I mean, obviously, when you're tracking mileage, or you're tracking how many times within a week it moves from cache to cache. So in 2006, I did the Great Balloon Racer hunt. So it was 300 people. We did a geocoin shaped like a little balloon, and people got a geocoin to keep, and then they got to send the second one out. And then we had a website that you got different points for when a geocacher picked it up and did something with it.
Gotcha.
And so putting it in an 8 cache was worth 10 points. Putting it in a multi-cache was worth 5, and things like that. And so it made it so that not only were the people who had put out these races were following it, all of the caches who had moved it were following it. And each week I did a drawing for 10 people and gave them a free geocoin for helping move these things. So that was something that was really cool. It's something I've actually considered 10 times doing again, because it was such a kind of fun, just, it was called 80 Caches Around the World.
Nice. That's brilliant. I love that. I participated. We had a TB race several years ago with a host of another podcast for geocaching that isn't actually a geocaching podcast anymore. But he and I, he started his. So no, what did we do? We met so he's in Florida. We met in Disney World. We hand exchanged trackables. I took his back up to Canada, to British Columbia, and he took mine. We both dropped them on the same day into caches in our area, and the idea was to have them race home, right? Have the trackable come back to its owner. And they both kind of disappeared after a while. But what was really, really cool was I was at an event, and one of the viewers of our podcast found me and said, "I have your trackable," and handed it to me. So that was, again, Mark, you're talking about how trackables just are a part that, there's always a memory associated with it. I have that one set aside on my desk, because that one is super special to me now because of that whole experience.
I hope you didn't hurt him too much for keeping your trackable for so long, but yeah.
No. And she actually had messaged me once she had picked it up and said, "I have found your trackable, and
wow. Okay.
I'm planning to go to this event." I think it might have been a GeoWoodstock where we met. She said, I think you're coming, and if you are, let's meet up, and I'll hand you this."
Awesome.
And it was really neat. Yeah, it was awesome.
I would love that. If anybody ever comes up with my first Geo coin I ever launched, I would love to get it back.
There you
I'll
go.
throw that challenge out. Why not?
There you go. Let's see. Trying to see.
Brylang says that he sent out a rubber. Oh no, you got something else. Oh yeah, there you go.
Nope, that was it.
Sent out a rubber duck TV during the duck race promo a couple of years ago. It made it as far as Snoqualmie Pass, and he retrieved it from another cacher at Going Ape in the Snoqualmie Pass.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
Fun.
Let's see. Peach says Peach has participated in a summer vacation travel racer event each year for the last 4 years now. Your travel and your racer around. You travel your racer. I guess that's the phrase.
Mhm.
You travel your racer around to caches to visit between Memorial Day and Labor Day.
Okay, very fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of I just love the variety. Also,
Mhm.
it's like you can do what you want with a trackable. If you want to tattoo it onto your leg, you can do that.
Yeah.
Put it on your car. Put it on whatever's special to you. So I think
Right.
it's a very interesting, cool thing.
A lot of
And,
memories.
and hopefully your tattoo trackable doesn't go missing.
That would be awkward. Yeah. I think the most
Star-
memorable. Go ahead, read that one.
Starcasher says the geocaching podcast is starting a listener trackable race starting April 1st.
No fooling.
Are they really?
Yeah, makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know. Can you
You
trust
better
anything
better
that
check
happens?
that.
Yeah.
It costs $10.
I was going to say, it is Scott after all. April 1st. I don't know.
No, definitely.
That's cool. That sounds like fun.
I was gonna say I don't know what your all favorite or most memorable trackable ever was, but the one that I found that I still think about it, so it's memorable to me. Somebody, and some people might think this is weird or gross, but somebody put some of his father's cremains in a small bison tube, basically, and said, "My dad loved to go out for a burger, and he loved to travel, so I want to keep that going." So he sent it around. He says, "Take a picture with it at your favorite burger joint." And I traveled it to California, had an In-N-Out burger, and sent him on his way somewhere else. That was memorable.
That's different. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
nice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, especially with travel bugs and trackables, you can actually set some goals. I think that's a little bit of a lost art.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that hasn't really been featured so much now, because I used to come up with all kinds of like, oh, let's do this, let's do that. Oh, that person had a good idea. I'm taking that and putting it on my travel bug too. So, coming up with like a great goal for where, something either funny or interesting or a little off the beaten trail and things like that. It's definitely something individual, but quirky and cool.
Yes. And in the early days, finding the goal of the trackable was much more difficult, right? You'd grab it, you take it home, look it up.
Yeah.
Oh, I just brought this from the east. It wanted to go west. Oops.
Right.
Okay. So, now with smartphones, you just scan it and say, oh, this wants to do this. I can do that today. So putting goals on a trackable it's so much easier now than it used to be. So I think they actually get where they're going more often.
Yeah. Keats shared a fun story. He said he dropped off a trackable in Ottawa, Canada, and it found its way back to be in Victoria at the same time Keats was at an event at the Landshark store.
It's a good place for events.
Wait, there was another. I lost. This is Wet Coaster. I lost my trackable name tag in an event. Year later, got it back at Omega.
Nice.
So I do have a story about. So I went to England in 2007, and then I had kids, and so we hadn't traveled in a while. And so last year when we went to go travel, well, 2 years ago now, it wasn't 2020, sorry. 2 years ago, we got out the big luggage and I looked in and there was a bunch of travel bugs and tags and things that I picked up in 2007 and never logged.
So you're that guy.
Yeah, I was definitely that guy. So therefore, they all made it into the geocaching HQ cache. And when dropped it there, that is my saving grace of putting. I'm like, fine, I'm going to put it in a special cache, or I'll put it in the ape cache, or something like that. And maybe the person won't scream at me for holding it for 11 years.
I was holding on to it to get it into HQ for you. Yeah.
Yeah. It just took me a while. Exactly. But yeah, I was that guy for 11 years. Luckily, most of them were just, I wouldn't say just, but they were promotional trackables, so nobody really owned them, but there were a couple.
I just thought, what if you put just a regular trackable code on your luggage? Would that help you find it if it gets lost? Would anybody track that?
Would you get
Geocache.
credit for all the miles that the airline bounced it around?
Maybe.
The in the air.
Go ahead.
Doramore also has a story from England. She was asked to bring a mannequin head from an event in England back to HQ. I declined. I couldn't figure out if I should put it in the checked luggage or carry-on.
If you get 7
Well,
more,
they
you could
say
have
2 heads are better than 1.
Yeah, if you get 7 more, you could have 8 heads in a duffel bag.
Mm.
Actually, I have an airport story. Muck Morrows used to work there at the SeaTac, and I was going to a GeoCoin Fest, and I had a ton of trackable metal with me, heavy metal with me, and so I was going to get ready to go through the line, and the other guy called Sean McMorrow over and goes, "Hey, got another geocacher here. Come on over." And he comes on over. I'm like, "Hey, buddy, how are you?" And he goes, "What do you got in there?" I'm like, "Trackables." He goes, "I don't believe you." I'm like, so I ended up giving him all my travel bugs as payment to get through the line without having to do some kind of strip search or something awkward moment. But yeah, no, I mean, it just goes on and on. This sort of different, you can always tell when GeoCoinFest is happening because all the metal detectors in all the airports go off. So,
Nice. Now, Mark, we've had a great time talking this evening. If some of our listeners wanted to get in touch with you, because you do a lot of things with Trackables, you design, you help mint, anything they could ever wonder about Trackables, you more than likely have the answer. How would they get in touch with you, a hold of you?
there's a couple of ways. You can try and find me on Facebook. Good luck. Or you can do avroair@gmail.com. And I've been checking that more often now because Brian Roth sent me an email 2 months ago with that, and I hadn't checked my email in 3 years or something. And he's like, texts me and goes, "What? Check your email." I'm like, "That's not my current email." But anyway, we got to figure it out. Now I use that email again.
You can set up forwarding rules, just saying.
When Brian Roth tells you that's your current email address, that's your current email.
That's right. Yeah.
I could do forwarding rules, but it gets about 500 spam a day.
Whoa.
Yeah, Brian Roth has spoken.
Hey, folks, thank you for tuning in tonight. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Caching in the Northwest, all about Trackables.
Indeed. And of course, we want to take an opportunity to thank Landsharks, our corporate Denali level sponsor. And make sure to subscribe to their newsletter, find out about new products first. And remember that landsharks.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online. And remember that they are shipping online orders daily. We want to thank our faithful Denali level supporters, Landsharks, Team Squirrel, Groovy Owl, and Cachly, the geocaching app. If you want to know more about supporting the show, click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website.
Just like LG 9000 did.
And Broncos fan for life.
And Kennel Barb.
Kid Vegas 19.
Fairwood West.
Boomer 365.
You talks to rocks.
Winos Seattle.
Dora Moore.
Limax.
Logwork.
CRS 98.
Kitty Quest.
Seebeck Tribe.
On a boat.
Just finding our way.
Trexer Zero.
MC3 Cats.
GSM ×2.
Peach.
UDAC.
The Geo Travelers.
Green Words.
Sege Hove.
3 hams and a rose.
Donners.
That's a pretty hard act to follow there. All right. Ackerdoc.
Alarobrick.
Subway Mark.
B. Pendragon.
Sprouter.
Camp Glen,
Nerve.
T. Sayer.
Keats 94,
Dick Magnet.
Team Noltex.
Geo Nav Pros,
Kev MacD.
Genies.
Antaeus,
Wet Coaster.
And our newest Ari 54321. I don't know what follows that.
Well, we wrap up the contact information there, and thank Mark for joining us tonight. Really appreciated you coming on tonight. This was a lot of fun, and hang out. We're going to probably chat a little bit longer in the after show. If people wanted to reach you one more time, that email address is
navroair@gmail.com.
all right, and you can find the other 3 Yahoos on here at cachingnw.com/hosts for social media tags. What's the word I'm looking for? Handles. How about that? That'll work.
There you
Usernames, handles. Yeah. All kinds of stuff. And there's other interesting information there too. Some of it not so interesting. Some of it really interesting. Go check it out.
You never know what you're going to find. It's kind
That's
of a grab bag.
Yeah.
With handles.
Ooh.
We just threw that in there. Now, folks, it's time. It's a new segment we call At Last. There it is. Where we get to answer some of your burning questions. Now, tonight, this question has already been answered by, I think, our guest and 2 of the other hosts. I forgot to tell you what LAST stands for. LAST, listeners ask some things. If you want to ask some things, call into 253-693-TFTC or email your question to feedback@cachingnw.com. Don't go there. You don't need to go there. So the first question I wanted to ask tonight is, do you remember the first trackable you found? And I know Avro Air has answered that, and I think did you answer that, Land Monkey? Or if you can't remember that, what's your most memorable? And I know the 2 other hosts have already answered that. So I guess it's just up to me.
It's all about you.
You
right.
got.
Well, go ahead. We're all waiting for you now.
The first one was a highway racer. It was a little motorcycle, and it wanted to travel along highways. Well, it was early on, and I didn't discover that till I got home. I was like, oh, I was right next to the highway. I could have sent it on its way. Now, okay, next time I'm out, I'm going to drop it off. And that's, that was my first one. My most memorable was a little ironing board. Like a travel ironing board that you could iron your sleeves with.
Mm-hmm.
That was a trackable. It was too big to fit in anything. And we were on a cash machine, and it showed up on our car. And, you at a cash machine, you get several people pulling in and leaving, and we got a trackable. So I placed it on somebody else's car, and we drove off.
As one does. Yes.
I remember that.
Yeah. That was very memorable to me. Now, I remember some of the big travel bugs, like a car door. I believe there was an engine block. Why would you make that a trackable?
What else you can do with it?
Oh, yeah.
To get it out of your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I remember when I was at when we were doing GeoWoodstock in 2010, we needed a theme for the welcome event. So I said, okay, we're doing a hula. We're going to do a luau. Everyone gets laid. So we had lays for everybody. And I said to Princess Trouble, I need a surfboard. And she looks at me and goes, what? I said, I need a surfboard. Why do you need a surfboard? I need a logbook.
That was the logbook. I remember.
And
Nice.
surfboard needs to be a logbook. And then she goes, what am I going to do with that after the event? I'm like, make it a trackable and give it to someone.
That's right.
So, and that was one of the first kind of big travel bugs, really huge travel bugs or travelers that sort of an event started to pick up on that kind of thing. And a lot of other events started doing something that you sign that's interesting and big and stuff like that. So it was something that was kind of fun. But yeah, the look on her face when I said I need a surfboard.
It became not fun to host an event when you end up at the end of the event stuck with all these giant things.
You
yeah,
the last person in an event. Yes.
that's when it's good to know someone else's address, so you can just drop it in their yard.
Or leave it on someone's car.
You can pay to ship the surfboard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually did that. I have another story. So a good friend of mine, Dee Henninger, we met in 2003, my caching buddy, partner. My wife called us something different, but we won't go there. We decided that we'd fly down to Atlanta and then go caching around the whole of the South and the Midwest in 3 days. And because that's what you do. So we made a coin for it, Avro and Dee Henninger's road trip, and every cache we found, we'd drop a coin in there and stuff like that. Well, then we had the bright idea that we should bring travel bugs with us. And so we had a big red Jeep travel bug that was about 1.5 feet long. So we shipped that to Atlanta. And we had found a manhole cover that someone had spray painted and etched in a tracking number to make it look like a geocoin. Well, that seemed like another good thing to ship down to Atlanta. Yeah, so we did that. And so we had the world's largest geocoin with us. And it cost us $158 to ship it. But we did it. And it appeared, and we sent it down to another geocacher whose name was Atlanta Girl, very fitting. And she's like, "What did you send to my house?" "Oh, nothing." Did it arrive? Is it okay? She goes, "Yeah, but it's on the front doorstep. It's too heavy for me to bring in." I'm like, "Oh, cool. All right." So when we got it, and we went to the first event, and we had the world's largest geocoin. So it's kind of fun.
That's hilarious.
Probably the world's heaviest.
That too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys are talking about the biggest and the heaviest trackables you've ever found. I do remember the very first trackable I ever found, and according to the log I looked at just now, I found it in November of 2004, and it was probably one of the smallest trackables I found. It was called Quackers Ahoy. It was a little tiny duck with a little sailor cap on him, and he wanted to get to England, and I thought, this is really cool. I picked it up, and
Isn't that adorable?
I'm going to put that on my watch list, and he went missing in 2010, but he's still on my watch list. So
when he pops up.
That's right.
That's
so
excellent.
If you find him or my geocoin, let me know.
Yeah, I was earlier in the show when you're talking about trackables that have missions and that it's easier now to know what the missions are. It reminded me of we had picked up a trackable, a stuffed dog with a trackable tag attached to it when we were visiting Utah, and we were doing offline caching, and we got home with this. I thought, oh, we'll move this at an event, and then we looked up the mission. It was like to move from cache to cache in Utah. I'm like, oh, well, good thing we were planning on going back next year.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Whoops, indeed. So yes, if you can use like TB scan or something in the field and check the mission, probably a good idea.
No, that's a great idea. I actually went hiking one time. Well, so I was going to do a geocache themed on aliens, and so because I was really liked a lot of those kind of shows, like the one Scully and Mulder are in. I can't even remember the name of the show now. X-Files, that was it. So going to do an X-Files kind of cache. And so I went online and I'm like, oh, look, they got these little aliens you can buy. I'm like, cool. Yeah, look, little 12-pack of aliens. I'll buy about 150 of those and stick them in the cache. That'll be awesome. Well, apparently I didn't buy a dozen at a time. I bought a ton. So it was basically 244 aliens times 10. So I had almost 2,500 little aliens. And so
that's an invasion.
I thought there was going to be. And we went for a hike. I went for a hike with about 5 geocaching buddies, 10 miles. And I'm carrying this bag of aliens with me. And they just think I'm this. You're an idiot. I'm like, well, I already knew that. But anyway, I've got to get rid of these aliens. So each cache we get to back in the day was an ammo can. So I'm like, this is awesome. Stuffing these aliens into the ammo can. It's like little hands and legs and little heads sticking out of the ammo can. And I'm like, this is great. and I lock the ammo can, and the next person to open it, these things would pop out. Well,
I have been chosen.
About the 6th or 7th one of these things, I was still stuffing all of the aliens into this thing, and I had taken out this blue dog out of the cache, went to find the logbook. And because there were mosquitoes or whatever else, I stuffed all the aliens in, and I left this blue dog. And so they're like, "That's your blue dog now." I'm like, "I'm not taking that blue dog." And it's like, "You are." "No, I'm not." "Yeah, you are." So there was a big argument. And so I finally took it. I made it a trackable, and I sent it. I said it had to go to my friend's house, who was basically the one that was laughing at me the whole time. So anyway, that's another trackable story. And New Jersey has thousands and thousands of aliens still sighted.
Nice.
I love it. I love it. Oh, Brian Lang says his first TB we found was a pair of handcuffs. Small.
Oh, really?
Handcuffs.
I'm not sure I want to know any more than that.
There you go. And with that, Chris will wrap up the show.
Yes, please.
Hey, folks, thanks for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Don't forget that you can be part of the show. Please call into 253-693-TFTC. Leave us a comment, ask a question, pick up our large trackables any time of the day or night, even if you have trouble lifting them. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. If you like the show, click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. Gives us a thumbs up or a very coveted review. The show is produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, and Jay Kennedy. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2021 by Chris Umfenauer. And I say stay tuned for the after show, but I think we just had the after show.
Certainly have gone well into it.
There's the after show. Oh, let's see. We do have some Robin Hood questions in the after show.
Of course we do.
Yes.
Do we need to know more about the British Robin Hood?
No, but I did actually make a Robin Hood geocoin once.
Cool.
I made a little quiver with 3 little arrows in, trackable.
Ah,
Oh, neat.
Nice. So did it take path tags from the rich and give them to the poor?
Actually, they cost a lot now, so it is kind of that.
yeah.
Okay.
See, that's
I
probably,
was trying to get one because I don't have one anymore because I gave mine away, and I was like looking on it on eBay, and it was like $90. I'm like, I'm not paying that for that. So
I know how much they cost.
yeah.
Starcasher says my favorite Robin Hood spoof was the 1975 Mel Brooks series, When Things Were Rotten.
I don't know that one.
I don't either.
A little research is gonna
Yeah,
happen.
check that one out.
And our good friend Keats94 says a brand new episode of Keats94 Geocaching Adventure goes live at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Walking the beaches of Point Grey. Check out my St. Patty's Day episode 2. It was released, well, on St. Patty's Day, which was yesterday, the day of this recording.
All right, sure, we'll check that one out.
Yeah, to be sure. Now, 3Ham says, I think that's still up here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a selfie with Brian Roth at GCF Geocoin Fest 2018, maybe, in Issaquah. Do you remember that?
I do.
In Issaquah. Posted it online. My mother, bless her heart, asked, did he invite you to go caching with him because you do so much caching?
And the answer to that is yes, Mom. Yes, he did.
Yes. Avro Air, you're probably going to be happy you came on tonight. Jim B says, I have a quiver or 2 laying around if you really need one.
Oh.
It's only $90, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Special deal for
110 with the special delivery.
That's right.
In a crossover I think it was 2014, Robin Hood was featured in Doctor Who.
Really?
Oh,
Well,
now we're going really English.
here's the Robin Hood theme. Sir Tony Robinson, Baldrick from Blackadder, had a series called Maid Marian on BBC.
There you go. And if you've never watched Blackadder, now there's some quality British television that you need to experience.
I've tried.
Really? You couldn't get into it?
It was pretty tough.
Oh, geez, that's one of my favorites.
Is it? I'll try it again then.
Plug
Maybe
the
I didn't give it enough time.
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, nothing.
The quiver's going to be really reasonable for you, Avro Air.
Oh,
There you go.
special deal. Hey, I just want to throw out for after show. Doramore mentioned that she does, if I remember right, travel bug racing with somebody from Osaka, Japan,
Yes.
which is the farthest point I've been able to travel on this globe. And I launched some trackables from Osaka, Japan. So that was fun.
Very cool.
Were they travel bugs in a race?
No, they were not racers.
Okay. What a coincidence, right?
Yeah, no, that would be fun.
There was something I was going to ask, and now I've completely forgotten it.
You'll think of it as soon as we sign off.
I know. I will. Avro Air, thank you for taking the time tonight away from your family to join us. We certainly appreciate it. And folks, until next week, go out, find some trackables in the Northwest.